Hey y'all, today we're back with another hair video. Did y'all miss me? Because I missed y'all so much. So we have London, who is my daughter, as our model, and today we're going to touch bases on thick hair, shifting scalps, and other things you should know as far as parting goes. I used Loc N Braid Gel for this style. Y'all, this video is really old. I think I filmed this all the way back in March, and I just ended up finding it on my SD card when I was going through my memory cards. So I was like, you know what, this is a good video. We're going to post it, and I hope y'all learn some good tips and take away some things from this video. So London has super thick hair. She also has a shifting scalp, so I have to do a lot when it comes to doing her hair, especially with knotless braids. As you can see, I'm holding her hair down with my hand because her scalp moves. So if I don't hold it down with my hand, then I'm not going to see the true parting. So when you're dealing with a shifting scalp, I suggest you put tension on the hair, not to where it's hurting the person, but just to where you can actually see how your part is going to look. And y'all see, I ended up getting a nice straight part. Even though she does have shifting scalp, I was able to work through it. Now, when I do London's hair, we love a good medium. Sometimes small is just gonna take too long because of how thick her hair is, and then sometimes medium can be a little bit too much because of how thick her hair is once again. So we always go for that medium size, in between small, in between medium. It's kind of like medium parting sizes, not so much small braid sizes, but not so much medium, just in between. Medium is the perfect balance for that. So that's the size that we go for when I'm doing her hair, because again, it's so thick. Now, when you're working with thicker hair, you want to use the density of the client's hair or your child's hair. You could be watching this video to do your daughter's hair or whoever, but you want to make sure that you're adding some of that thickness from their hair to the braid. You don't want to overpower the braid with so much braid hair, because the thickness from the hair is going to add to that braid, which is going to create a nicer flow, and you're not going to have so much of a bulk with your knotless braid. Another thing, before I get too deep into the video, if you like hair content, beauty content, family content, anything like that, then make sure that you subscribe to my channel and become a member of the Slay Gang. I'm working on being more consistent on my YouTube channel. I know sometimes I take breaks because I am trying to balance being a mom, running a business, and trying to make content all at the same time. So sometimes I don't post as often as I should, but that is something that I'm currently working on. So if you're not a member of the Slay Gang yet, make sure you mash that subscribe button and join the gang, y'all. And I always want to tell y'all in every video, make sure you're tucking the hair. A nice knotless braid consists of good tucking, okay? And at the ends, we're also going to tie a knot to keep the braid from unraveling, and you're going to keep the braid in place by doing that, okay? So make sure you're tucking, make sure you're tying your knots, and we're also going to make sure we're snipping those flyaways off as we go, because we don't want frizzy braids, okay? That's another key to making your braids last for a while, is getting all of those flyaways gone. If you've been to a braider and you notice that they didn't cut the flyaways off, then your braids probably frizzed up pretty fast, and it's because those flyaways are on there. So another tip is to always make sure that you're trimming those flyaways, and as long as you're tucking, you know you're not going to be cutting the client's hair. You're going to be just trimming off those excess little flyaways from the braid. You tuck by keeping the hair behind the braid hair, which is really, really simple. You don't want to see the braid. You don't want to see the client's real hair in front of the braid hair. You always want that to be pushed behind there, and that's how you're doing your tucking method. You can tuck it under, or you can tuck it behind. For me, I like to just push the hair behind, as you can see me doing right there. I like to keep the client's real hair behind that braid hair, and that's going to give you that good tuck. It's also going to help to make that braid neater, and it's going to help you with the flow of your braids. Now, tucking is going to start to become natural the more that you braid. So I always say just practice tucking with any style that you're doing, especially knotless braids. Now, when I'm parting all of this hair, y'all, what I like to do is lift the hair up as I go to see like how thick that part is going to be. And it's just going to help me with balancing the part from side to side, because I don't always do a pre-parting method. I know sometimes it's easier if you're a beginner, but for me, I love to just part as I go. But when I'm working on thicker hair, I like to just lift the hair up to see like how that line is looking. And I'm also keeping that tension up there at the top because she has the shifting scalp as well. So we're working with the combination of thick hair and shifting scalp. So I'm applying the tension and I'm lifting it up. I'm paying attention to that line, and as you can see, that row came out very nice and very even. You just want to do that every time you part. When somebody has really thick hair, if they have shifting scalp, just remember, let me pull up here and pull down here, and that's going to help me with that straight part that I want. Now, another tip that I want to give y'all, especially when you're working with thick hair, start off with small pieces. Like, your pieces don't have to be huge. I never really start off with huge pieces. My pieces really don't get that gradual. I like to add the same size in and just build my braid like that. But especially when you're starting off with thick hair, you want to start off with really, really small pieces because they already have that thickness at the top, so you don't have to add too much braid hair at the top. I do still recommend that you start adding braid hair as soon as you start braiding. That's just a personal preference of mine. It just helps the braid last longer, and it makes it look way neater that way, and your braids won't twist at the roots because you're adding that hair in as soon as you start. But you just want to make sure you're adding smaller pieces like you'll see me do right now. Just adding smaller pieces, it gives that flatter look because the hair is already thick, so you don't want it to be too bulky at the top, but you also want it to look nice and natural. I know some people struggle with side to side parting when they get to the top, so I wanted to show y'all how I do it now, because I think the last time I showed it, it's not the same way that I do it anymore. One thing that I want to say, when you're going up to the top, you want to make sure everything is connecting, and you want to make sure that you're cross-examining in the front of the head, which I'm going to show y'all in the video. Cross-examining in the front is so easy because you want to make sure you're balancing it. So I think a way for you to throw off this part is by not paying attention to the actual front of the head. So what I like to do is either turn the client around and pay attention to the front, or I'll either stand in front of them and pay attention to the front, which I'm going to show y'all in the video. But I just have to put an emphasis on this part, y'all. And if you see me moving my daughter's head all around, just don't pay any mind. My daughter, when she gets on that phone, she doesn't want to hold her head any way that I'm telling her to hold it, so I have to move it for her. But when you're doing side to side parting, it's so important to just make sure those parts are even from each side, which I'm going to show y'all. This part is really important too when you have a shifting scalp, because if you're not holding that tension at the top, your parts can be like looking one way, but when you put the tension on it, it'll look a whole complete different way. So you just want to pay attention to how it's looking for both sides. You want it to be balanced and you want it to be even. The top is so important, especially when it comes to parting. You really want to pay attention to how you're parting. You want to do like a horseshoe type of angle, but you really just have to pay attention to the front of the head. That's the key when you're doing the top. And like I told y'all earlier in the video, always make sure you're snipping those flyaways. And as long as you're tucking, you know you're not cutting the client's hair. Snip those flyaways and your braids are going to look better and they're going to last longer. Thank me later. Don't wait until the end to snip those flyaways. Snip them as you're going. Y'all, I just have to put so much emphasis on pay attention to the top of the head. Pay attention to the front of the head. You don't want a smiddle part. You don't want a slanted part. You want that part to be nice and crispy in the middle. So part it as many times as you have to. Hold both sides down, put that tension on it and lift it. Do all of that, y'all. I'm telling you, especially when you have thicker hair that you're working with, you always want to make sure you're just taking your time in any style that you're doing. Take your time and focus on that parting. Parting is the key when it comes to knotless braids. And y'all, don't mind my face. I get so focused when I'm braiding and I just get in the zone, but I just can't explain how important this step is when it comes to just paying attention to the top of the hair and putting that tension on there. No middle parts. We want them to be crispy, and we're gonna follow them up with gel as well. I just didn't show it on this video, but always clean your parts up with gel. Y'all, my favorite foam is the Ebin braid formula. It smells really, really good. The consistency is amazing and it lays the hair down so well. So I highly recommend this braid foam if you need a good setting foam. Also, I am experienced when it comes to braiding and dipping. So I didn't put a towel on my daughter, but I always recommend that you put a towel on the person first before you do the dipping step. I dip every time I braid. I've seen a couple comments on a lot of my videos asking, do I not dip? Sometimes I just don't show me dipping the hair in videos, but I do dip the hair every single time. And like I said, put a towel on there. But like I said, I'm just experienced with it, so I didn't, because I know I wasn't gonna burn her. And then I like to just seal everything with my blow dryer. And y'all, I love the Crème of Nature spray. The Crème of Nature oil sheen spray is what I like to finish it up with to give it that nice shine. This spray smells so good too. In London, you can't tell her anything when she got her medium Knotless N. So she was really happy about how they turned out. I was really happy about how they turned out, and I was happy that I didn't have to worry about doing her hair for a little bit. If this video was helpful, then make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and join the gang. We will see y'all in the next video.
Like damn, she in her mood. 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 She lit, get money too.